This is My Father's Legacy. I'm Mark Spawn. Thanks for joining me as I share more about the life of my father, Alan Spawn. In other podcasts, you may have heard some of his writings, inspirational, spiritual, thoughtful. Today, I want to share with you some of the notes about my dad written by his mother. Dad was born in Schenectady, New York on October 19, 1934. He started school on September 4, 1940, at the Fort Hunter School in Guilderland, New York. When Dad was just 4 years old, he suffered burns from scalding. His mother, my grandmother, Elsie Spawn, wrote about it. While washing Monday, January 17, 1938, Alan was badly scalded. He was given first aid by Dr. Hurst. George Bugsby took us to the Children's Hospital in Albany, where Dr. Vanderveer took charge. Alan and I remained there for 4 weeks. Aunt Rosella and Aunt Grace brought us home on February 14th. Dr. Hurst then came every day to dress Alan's back until he was taken sick himself. Then Dr. Cullen of Altamont attended. In 7 weeks it was practically healed, although now at 10 weeks it still itches badly at night. In March 1947, at age 12, Dad took piano lessons at the Schenectady Conservatory. In June 1948, Dad graduated from grade school, District 14 in Guilderland. That September, he began high school at Draper High near Guilderland. Dad moved to Oneida, New York with his parents, George, a farm machinery dealer for J.S. Woodhouse, and his mother Elsie, a housewife, and Dad's brother Marvin. Dad graduated from Oneida High School on June 24, 1953. In his teen years, Dad took up an interest in electronics. He built radios and talked with other ham radio operators. Most of that talk was by Morse code. I still have one of his radio logbooks from the 50s showing many of the contacts he made across the world. He began working with a local TV repair shop and eventually began his own business. For years, he repaired electronics. I didn't appreciate it at the time, but I remember how other TV repair shops would bring their most difficult cases to him. He was a sportsman, a hunter, fisherman, and trapper. I remember many days where my brother Kevin and I would go with Dad ice fishing, and there were hunting trips where Dad hunted raccoon and occasionally deer. And back when furs were popular, he trapped fox, mink, rabbit, and beaver. I remember him shipping boxes of hides to Eddie Bauer and L.L. Bean, and then seeing coonskin hats in the Bean catalog, wondering if some of those were from Dad. But his heart was still in the farm. That's where he was raised. The property he bought up on the hill where we lived in the town of Lincoln in Madison County was beautiful. He built the house, a barn, and other outbuildings. He took pride in whatever he built. And I know he loved his garden. It was meticulous, groomed, a work of art. And he had such a harvest each year that neighbors and friends would also enjoy the benefits. And of course there was the crop of butternut squash he would grow for the church's annual harvest supper. I remember those fondly. Walking into St. Paul's Church, seeing old faces, the aroma of roast pork, squash, and sauerkraut. It still is, a sought-after community event in Oneida. I remember taking my daughter Alyssa to the harvest supper a few times. She looked forward to it. She enjoyed seeing her grandpa there too. The last one that Alyssa and I attended was just about a month after Dad died in 2003. It was nice to see everyone and to enjoy something that I knew Dad had been part of. Whenever I talk about my dad with others, it's not unusual that the term Renaissance man is used. Like I mentioned here, his interests included hunting, trapping, fishing, auto repair, farming, electronics, building, and of course, his faith. His interests were many, and he enjoyed learning. If you knew Al, you probably knew some of this, but you probably learned some new things here too. If you knew Al, you knew he was a very special guy. Thanks for joining me for My Father's Legacy. I'll be sharing more about Alan Spawn in future podcasts. You can find all of them at spawngroup.com/legacy.